Hello team. Right, we're looking at solving equations with unknowns on both sides, but the pretty much the most complicated version. So we've got brackets in there and we've got fractions in there. But you just need to know how you do it, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Some of it's going to be new though. Well, so also if we look at some of the questions on Hegarty, so you'll see it's 185 and 186. Some of the questions ask you to answer as an improper fraction or as a fraction in its simplest form. Now that means for me it's brilliant because it doesn't have to be able to be solved with an integer answer. 4 bracket x plus 3 bracket equals 3 bracket x minus 7, whatever, because it doesn't matter. Okay, so as we've discussed, there's two ways to start when you've got brackets. First of all, to get rid of this 4, I could just divide everything by 4. So that would leave x plus 3 on this side, but then I'd have 3/4 of x minus 7. It's just not what I want. So in this, first of all, we're going to expand the bracket. So we do 4 times the x and we do 4 times the 3. 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 3 is 12, positive. And then we do the same over here. We do 3 times the x and we do 3 times negative 7, positive 3 times negative 7. So it's 3x minus 21. And then I think you can do the rest, but you find the lower number of x's, the term in x which has the lowest coefficient. So we've got 4x and 3x. So 3x is the smallest and we inverse it. If it's positive, we subtract it. If it's negative, we add it. 4x take away 3x is x. 12 stays the same. And we've got negative 21 over here. And then what we do is, of course, we just take away 12. Take away 12. Negative 32. X equals negative 32. And of course you can check your answer, substitute it back in here. It should give you the same answer on this side as it does on this side. So I think that's as hard as they get on task 185, to be honest, brackets on both sides. If in doubt, just expand the brackets first and then you are faced with a standard, albeit unknowns on both sides, equation to solve. Okay, so that's 185. If we have a look at task 186, these fractions get meaty. So I just have a butcher's 186. Okay, so they start with one fraction. So, and this will almost certainly be a non-integer answer, so a fraction answer, but that's fine. Let's have a coefficient of x. 4x plus 1 over 3 equals 9x minus 20. Okay, so what we need to do here is first of all get rid of this denominator slash division slash fraction. Okay, normally when we've got unknowns on both sides, we want to find the smallest one, which is the 4x, and then we take it away. We can't take it away from a fraction. Imagine if we had 3/4, if we took away 3, that doesn't give you, well, anything that you want, basically. You can't just take away the denominator and end up with 1/4 or something. So what we're going to do, as you probably expect with a question like this, is times by 3. Because that is the inverse of dividing by 3. So on the left-hand side, we're left with just the numerator, which is fab. That's why we times by 3. And on the other side, we've got any term, each term which is separated by a plus or minus must be multiplied by 3. Or you can think of it as 3 bracket 9x minus 20, but don't bother actually writing that because we've got to expand it anyway. So 3 times 9x is 27x. 3 times negative 20 is negative 60. And then we have again a fairly standard equation with unknowns on both sides. So 4x is smaller, so you take away 4x, take away 4x, so 1 equals, 23x minus 60. Then we add the 60. 23x equals 60, I beg your pardon, negative 59. And then as we expected, that is not going to be an integer. Divide by 23, 23 is prime, so as soon as I put that as the denominator, unless it goes into 59, it's not going to simplify. So, negative, remember we don't want negative 59 over 23. That is the same as, negative 59 over 23. Negative divided by a positive is going to give a negative answer. So, negative 59 over 23. As I said, it doesn't simplify because 23 is prime. It has no factors other than 1 in itself. So you can't find a common factor unless if this was 46, for example. Of course, you could simplify. So that's our final answer. Try plugging that in to check the answer. Nasty. But now we'll do one with fractions on both sides. One of their questions, just so that it probably works. 2x minus 7 over 7. 2x minus 7 over 7. Oh, in fact, they've told us to answer as a fraction, so it's not going to, but 9x subtract 2 over 3. So we're going to do the same thing with the denominators. We're going to have to get rid of it. Now, so let's a bit of a side note. So I'm going to times by 7, times by 7. First of all, times by 3 first. Over here we've got 2x minus 7. Now, what we have here is various ways we can write this. We could write 7, and then that is timesing the whole of the bracket, 9x, sorry, the whole of the fraction over 3. Okay, but we know about 7, but if you write it as a fraction, it's 7 over 1. So if we multiply a fraction by an integer, it doesn't affect the denominator. So you could therefore write 7 bracket 9x minus 2, either all over 3 or just this fraction over 3, it's up to you. And therefore we could just expand, we could multiply everything by 7. And I think that's what I'd do straight away. So we're timesing this by 7, so I'm going to get 7 9s 63x, 2 7s 14, and it's negative all over 3. Okay, so that's a bit of a leap, but hopefully you can see from here, it is just 7 times this whole thing. You're quite right. But then if you think about it, if we're doing 7 times it, that's 7 over 1. So if you do, let's simplify this, 7 over 1 times 8 over 3 equals 56 over 3. The denominator stays the same if you're multiplying by an integer. So we can write it like this, basically. Sometimes you might want to write it outside the bracket, only really if you're then going to be planning to divide by 7 for whatever reason, but 7 is not going to go into 2. Then I can just times by 3. Okay, I'll just skip down a bit. Times by 3. Times by 3. And remember to multiply each term. Terms separated by a plus or a minus, positive or negative. 2x times 3 is 6x. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. 63x minus 14. Kushti. And then we can solve it. So the smaller number of x's is 6x. So we take away the 6x. Take away the 6x. Negative 21 equals 57. X minus 14. Get rid of the 14. careful when you're doing it. A negative and a positive below 0. 57x, which looks prime, but it's not. Oh, anyway, because 3 goes into 21, but it doesn't go into 14, so it might not help. Negative 21 plus 14. So you can go up. What I do is find the difference. I know that if I add 14, my answer is going to be negative. So I can find the difference, which difference between 21 and 14 is 7. So the difference is if they're both positive, 7. But then I know it's negative 7. And then final step, divide by 57. Divide by 57. X equals, and it's negative 7 over 57. 7's prime. So unless it goes into 57, which it doesn't, you can't simplify it. And so that's your final answer. Again, not so easy to check your answer with those. Good practice, but I'm not going to do it. And I don't think they get any harder than that. I mean, I'm not saying they're easy. They actually seem to go more straightforward at the end. They've only got one fraction. It's because you've got a negative coefficient of x. Should we do one of those? But let's not use the one they've done. So 3 minus 5x all over 2 equals. I've got half a mind. I'll do it one step harder than on Hegarty, just so that you have all the tools available to you. So they wanted the other one is positive 9x minus 8 over 3. So I'm going to times 2. 3 minus 5x equals 18x subtract 16 all over 3. I'm going to times by 3. Uh, 9 minus 15x equals 18x minus 16. Then we're looking for the smaller number of x's, the lower coefficient, so it's negative 15x, and we have to do the inverse. So we have to add it. Hopefully you've noticed when you've been practicing. The reason we can't always take it away is if we take away 15x, we end up with negative 30x. So we've still got unknowns on both sides, which doesn't help. 9 equals 3x minus 16. One of these buttons lets me scroll up, I think. Oh, not that one. Let's go back to 100%. Merci. Add 16, divide by 3. Oh, it's going to divide by 3. What a wonderful outcome. 16 add 9 is 25. It's not divided by 3, is it? 16 add 9 is 25. Okay. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Pack your bags, you've won. 25 over 3. And that doesn't simplify again because 3 is prime, so unless 3 goes into 25, there's no other common factors apart from 1. And 1 will not simplify. And that's your answer. So if we just run back, what you need to do is, as we've said, you always need to get rid of the fraction first. It's not strictly true, but anyway, in these questions certainly. So we could I could times by 3 first and then times by 2. I'm going to get the same by the time I get down to this part, 9 minus 15x. It'll be the same. So that's it. I hope that helps. I know it's been quick, but you can pause it and go back and take notes and all the rest of it. Well done. Thank you very much. See you later.